Hello, welcome to Miss Beckett's Language Arts class at PK Young. PK Young is a research and developmental school that is K through 12th grade. The classroom student demographics are selected by a lottery and represents Florida's racial income and demographics. The students commute from more than 30 surrounding small and rural North Florida cities and towns. The tour of the classroom begins with Miss Beckett's book checkout. There's books placed around the room, organized by genre, and then organized on the bookshelves by author's last name, first letter of the author's last name. We then have the announcements for the day, everybody's birthday of the month, and then above we have every procedure that we have gone over in the beginning of the year. These procedures are in the front of the room, and they are clear and specific instructions for the students. More specifically, she has instructions for when we do specific tasks in class. So today we did turn to your partner, and she held this up in the middle of the class and went over every bullet point and told kids exactly what she expected from them. There's a packet, there's think, pair, share expectations, think, pair, write expectations, heads together expectations, and group brainstorming. Oops. I'm going to walk back to the procedures. Here are the arrival procedures. So greet the teacher, sit in assigned seats, be ready for class. Bathroom procedures, quietly sign out. Circle up procedures. So in the beginning and the end of every class, we circle up and we kind of have a class meeting and discuss announcements in the beginning of the class and discoveries in the end of the class. Class discussion procedures, independent work procedures, small group procedures, library procedures, fire drill procedures, dismissal procedures. I'm going to zoom out, and in the front we have UDL. Something Miss Beckett has implemented into her classroom is the Universal Design for Learning, and she tries to implement it in every lesson and unit that she covers. In the beginning of the year, she did a list that students filled out, preferences of how they want to be in, how they engage in material, how they represent what they know, and how they express what they know. And it kind of is going to give her a framework to work around for the rest of the semester and know how to cater to each student's needs. And zoom in a little bit, she's outlined the whole entire year of 6th grade language arts, the reading and writing curriculum. And this is just a good way for students to know what they're learning, why they're learning it, and how they're going to express it. So it goes hand in hand with the UDL model. We keep going to the front of the room. She always has the schedule and the date posted and specific times where students need to be. It's always in the same place on the board, and it's always in the same color, blue, I think. Here's 4 R's, so some principles that she expects students to follow during the class. Below it, there's the SAGE and Scribe. So for every skills lesson that she does in each period, there's a SAGE and Scribe moment where one student is talking to the person writing and the other person is writing the sentence And it's kind of like an oral practice when students hear what they're being told, writing it down, practicing spelling, listening, and they fill in a blank. So they're also doing critical thinking skills. There's the turn to your partner procedure I told you. We have a little note about a sub, so students know. The projector, which most lessons have some sort of slide that correlates. This had to do with the skills with the sage and the scribe. Then we have homework, which is almost always just reading. She doesn't really assign homework. Let's give students plenty of time to get assignments done during the class. Win Wednesday is something that they've implemented here at PK Young in 6th grade. It's also kind of following the UGL design. Win stands for What I Need Wednesday. And so every Wednesday they have choices for each class and they sign up for what they need. There's the agenda. Every day she posts the agenda and walks students through it before the lesson starts. So that's what we did today. There's how to submit an assignment. They've moved to Canvas this year, and it's kind of new, and students have a lot of questions. And so this is a great way to clearly outline procedures for that as well. Go over here to the door. So she's clearly written out all of the expectations she has for classroom discussions. She even has discussion prompts, so if students are having a hard time starting discussions, they have kind of a lead-in. Here is the book challenge that she is doing with her students currently. She has all of these books available for students to read. They can check them out here, place them in a bag, and at the end of the year, I believe, they all get together and they all talk about the books that they have read this year. And so the idea is it's kind of like a book club, but you get to choose which books you really want to talk about. And here are some ways to make connections, some reading strategies for people to use, students to use. Some more strategy posters on the board. Headphones for students to use. And I'm gonna walk this out this way. This is the writing process. So right now we just started our first unit, which is personal narrative. And these are the things to consider when you're writing. And this is the writing process. And she clearly identified every part of the writing process and clearly explained what she expects from each part of the process and pointed them out today as she was beginning the new reading lesson. Over here we have a big welcome sign, and underneath is something Miss Beckett has introduced. It's called Teaching Tolerance. So they're all little posters about social justice. I think this is a really cool way to get students motivated, to bring up issues, to have students look at. I think they're really cool. I think they help, they're good conversation starters for issues that students might be dealing with. Over in the back, we have that she has a sink, some supplies, books, a back table. Over here are the journals that students are starting to write in. They will write in these all year. Another bookcase this is the nonfiction or realistic fiction section. Throughout the year, we will go through the parts of speech, and as we learn each parts of speech, she will put the new addition. So we learned adverb today, so that was put up today, and that's part of the skills strategies that she utilizes in her classroom with the Sage and the Scribe. Here's another bookcase, and it's fantasy, organized by author's first letter of the last name, historical fiction, and then something cool really is cool over here. She has other little posters, motivational. Then she has like racism exists, if you see something, say something, and the suicide prevention lifeline. All right, and so now we're going to talk about classroom layout. I'm going to kind of scan the room. So as you can see in the video, all of the desks are on the outside of the room. All of the chairs are in the inside of the room. And so as we talked about earlier in the circle up procedures, is something when students walk in first, all of the chairs are arranged facing the middle like these along the wall. So every student can see everyone's face. And in the beginning of class, we usually start off with classroom announcements. So students have an opportunity to say what is going on in their life, or exciting news, or updates. And this is a good way to foster classroom community and classroom engagement, and also creates a safe and supportive atmosphere so students can kind of let Miss Beckett, let other students know if they're struggling or going through something, and we can all support and engage and kind of love on those students if they're going through a hard time, or support and cheer them on if they have done something remarkable or have an achievement. I really like this way of having class, and it really does create a atmosphere of support. The other thing is Miss Beckett often sits down in the circle too, so it also creates a feel of we're all in this together, we're all on the same page, we're all here to support each other. Kind of takes the power in the I'm the teacher, you're the student, you better listen to me out of it. So we're all sitting in a circle, all listening, all engaging, all kind of talking about life and doing life together. So I really like that. And when it comes time to work, students can move their chairs around to face the tables, to have a table to work on. And they also are paired up with partners. So like in today's lesson, we read a story out loud, and they followed along, and then they turned to their partners and talked to their partners about what they learned, what they discovered. And this is a good strategy for kids to engage with each other and to also feel like you have somebody supporting you as well. So this is the room, and I'm really excited for this practicum experience. I'm really excited to be working with Miss Beckett, and I think this is going to be a great classroom environment.
For my reflection on the classroom video, something that I really like that Miss Beckett does is that she uses UDL to accommodate every student's learning and kind of allows everyone to have the same amount of time and the same amount of tools, so everyone's on the same page. So she tries to grab every different type of learner. And so for like the last assignment, she provided people with tools with a video reading, an audio recording, visual text, a visual aid, like compare and contrast web, because that's what they were working on, and then a sample paper. So she kind of wants to grab everybody's attention, how everybody learns information, and use that to help benefit them all on their assignments. With that being said, technologies has integrated into PK Young, at least in the middle school as far as I know. They all have Chromebooks, and something that's really cool about them all being on Chromebooks is, like today, we were doing a writing workshop, working on personal narratives, because that's the new lesson that we're working on today. And they can all be on their Chromebooks, and they can go into a Google Drive, that's middle school language arts, 6th grade, Miss Beckett's class, type what they're working on, save it, and then Miss Beckett later can go back into that Google Drive and see the progress everyone has made on their personal narratives and take notes for whatever we need to go over next class. So I think that's something that's really cool and a cool resource